All right, we're recording. Thank you guys so much for coming. It is so awesome to have so many amazing faces who are working hard for their goals this month. It's going to be an amazing group. It's going to be an amazing season for our businesses. The majority of the people are on this call are in our Strive to Shine push group. It's going to be such an amazing group. So we want to kind of do a little housekeeping, go through a couple of quick announcements, and then Brooke's going to take over and talk about amazing topic of time management. I know that we're all super excited to learn and grow because that's an area we can all improve on. So the first thing you want to make sure that you've done is you go and check out the units of the Strive to Shine group page. Within the units, you're going to see things like an extra bonus giveaway that we're doing. It's basically for participation. So this is to encourage everyone to share their trackers. So our Success Club activity trackers, that's what we're going to be sharing within our album, instructions on how to create your own album. And that's where you're going to post your weekly trackers are listed in the units. So you want to make sure to check that out, follow those step-by-step instructions, create your album so that you can every Thursday upload your tracker for the week and start your new tracker. And if you upload all your trackers throughout the duration of the group, then you get qualified to enter this extra $100 Amazon gift card that the leaders are putting together for you. So that was the first thing. The second thing is to be prepared. Every Thursday, we're going to ask you to share an updated roadmap. If you're a new coach, then a roadmap is just basically a visual of where you're at in your business working towards the goal that you're in this group for. So for example, and we'll give you pictures to put the pretty little bubbles in and your names and all that stuff. I think that's coming if it's not already in the group. But you have yourself up at the top. You're going to write your name. You're going to fill in the bubbles of the coaches that you have by going to your sponsorship drill down and making sure that you know who's active for the week, where you stand with your goals, and it just keeps you really present. So every Thursday, be prepared to share that, which means Thursday mornings, you want to make sure to check your back office and see where you stand in reaching your goals. So create your album, weekly roadmap. We're going to be sharing the totals of the pots. Y'all, these pots for each of the buy-ins for both Emerald, Lifetime, and especially Diamond are huge. So you have the potential to really help your family financially and also reach your goals in your business. So that is an exciting thing. I know a lot of us probably have a little bit of fear that we're facing. If you're a little bit excited about this group, raise your hand. Who's excited? Okay, lots of hands. Who is fearful? Who has some fear that they're facing? Okay, so I want you to look. Everybody on this basically is in the same boat as you. So you're not alone in this journey. We are all feeling that same mix of emotions, and it's going to be an incredible experience together. So lean into that support. And that was my last thing. I encourage you guys to be team players in your team pages and within this group. So whether you're doing Strive to Shine or not, be a team player. If you listen to a podcast that really just touched you that day, share that with the people in the Strive to Shine group or within your team page. Be that person to put positive energy out into our group so that we can really learn and grow. If you come across an amazing training that just really helped you understand hashtags, put it in the group so that we can all work on this common goal together. The last thing that I wanted to touch on is pumpkin spice is still actively, we can still actively sell that unless it's sold out in the last like 24 hours and I didn't know it. But the first way that you do that is you make sure that you've purchased some yourself and then you use that as promotion for your social media. It's a great time of year. They restocked it. So we have this amazing opportunity for us to be able to try it, share it. People love all things pumpkin spice. So that wave has not passed. If you missed that launch, it's no big deal. Keep staying in that mindset. So that's all I've got I don't think I have the totals for the groups. So we'll post that in our group later on this evening. I'm going to pass it over to Brooke. She's going to be sharing about time management, and I encourage you to be active in the chat if you have questions about what she's talking about so that we can answer those as we go along. So Brooke, if you want to unmute yourself.
I will answer all of the chat questions at the end, or else I will get so distracted and you guys I'll make no sense to all of you guys. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm like kind of shaking because there's so many people on this call, and I'm like, I really hope I can give like what you guys need to hear to all of you. Time management is something that I am super passionate about. When I started my business, I was working full-time 50 hours a week. My husband was deployed. So I was like trying to figure out how to navigate building a business from the ground up at that point. And then once I got my business to Diamond, I then had kids, and I have 3 boys, 4, 2, and or almost 2, and then 2 months. And so I've built my business in the time cracks of my day from Diamond and beyond because I'm a mom now, and so I don't have a whole bunch of time. Thankfully, I don't have that full-time job anymore. I was able to quit that when I was just hustling as hard as I could in those intentional moments of work time I had while I was, in that first couple 6 months of my business before I went Diamond. So Diamond was where I actually had built the income and this is like income disclaimer, but Diamond was the rank I got to that helped me to sustain the income I was making in my full-time banking job and helped me come home full-time. So I was able to just be a stay-at-home mom once we eventually had our kids. So I want you guys to really be excited about this group and really think about what the potential of you achieving this rank can make for your family. So don't think about it as, I want to hit Emerald, I want to hit Ruby, I want to hit 1 star, I want to hit Diamond, just because that's what my coach tells me to do. I want you guys to think about what that income that comes with it is going to do for your family or is going to do for your life. It's really easy to get caught up in the flashy things that we all want to achieve. But in the end, I don't know if you guys know Katie Ersta, but she's talked about how she hit 15 star and she walked across the stage at Summit that year and she just felt empty. Like she didn't know why she had achieved that goal. So don't start this group and say, I want to be Diamond because my coach wants me to be Diamond, or I want to be Diamond because I think that's what I need to do. Have a goal in mind. So my goal when I was like, I want to be a Diamond coach was I want to be a Diamond coach because I hate my job and I want to replace my income. And so Diamond was the gateway for me to replace that income to come home and be home full time when we eventually had kids. My baby's about to wake up. This is not going to happen. If I jump up real quick, Rachel or somebody can just hop on and kind of keep conversation going. He might fall back asleep. But yeah, mom life, so now I'm all distracted. So just know as you guys start this group, really have that why behind the rank that you're going for at the forefront of your mind. I have my goals written on a board at my desk that I stare at every single day. And I don't just have the goal written down, I have why I have the goal written down. So my big goal for the end of the year is 5-star elite. And so I have Team Dare to Move 5-star elite team. So the women on my team are able to provide for their families and be home with their babies the way that I've been able to be. So it's not about me at this point. It's about me, my team having that same success and having that freedom I've had. So for you, you might be working towards that freedom for yourself right now, but put your family in that mix, or put what will be different about your life in that mix. And that's going to help with all of this time management stuff. When I make your guys' minds go crazy and you might feel super overwhelmed after this call, think about why you're doing it. And just like when you start your Beachbody business, it's just like when you go to school for the first time. You start a new class or you start a new job and you get binders and papers and syllabuses and syllabi, whatever that word is. You get all these things that you have to start learning and growing and like going through, and you're overwhelmed on that first day. But each day you take one piece of paper and you read it and you go through it, and then the next day you take the next thing and the next thing, and it just starts to become normal till at the end of the school year you're kind of a natural at it. You've got your routine down with your homework, with your life, whatever's going on. It worked out for you because you just took it day by day. So take your routine that I talk about tonight, take this time management tools that I'm going to share with you guys, make it your own, for one, because my way is not going to be the way for everybody. But also know that that overwhelm that you're feeling is something that everybody's going to feel. You just have to take it day by day, step by step. If you're a mom, you have to really know it's not going to be perfect, because my day was definitely not what I'm going to talk about with you guys on here tonight. It was all kinds of crazy. But it's something that I'm learning to manage, and that's what I want you guys to have. So I created a little slideshow to keep me on topic, because if you can't tell already, I start to go all over the place. So we'll go to this first one here, and let me get it in presentation mode. Rachel, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see it? Okay, perfect. So as you guys know, time management, like if you, this is the same with fitness and challenge groups. When you start a challenge group and you have your meal plan and you have all of the things that your coach is telling you to do, if you don't plan when you're going to do your workout, if you don't plan the meals you're going to eat, you're planning to fail, right? And it's going to be the same for your business. So if you have this business that you're saying that you want to run, you just invested this money to be in this group, so you're here because you want to build a sustainable business, Now you have to plan for it. You can't just put the money in and say, okay, cool, like now I'm just gonna I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing and hope that the best thing happens for me. You have to plan your life out. You have to plan your business into your daily life. And that's what we're gonna get into today. So our homework assignment for today that I gave you guys was to brainstorm all of the things that you had done. So question 1 here is like all the things you do in a typical day. I asked you guys for a specific day. And I did not ask you for today because I know what everybody would have done because I wanted to do it when my mentor was asking me to do it. I would have just been like, oh yeah, I worked my business, and I would have probably worked more today because I knew I was tracking it. But I wanted Friday or a different day last week because I wanted to know for sure what I wanted you to see the hours of what your business looks like. So for me, when I first did this, the assignment I had for you guys today, I had pink as my family time. And so I'm a mom. I have 3 young kids, and I want to be the present, like happy, fun, loving, exciting mom that creates memories with her kids. And I have this limiting belief that I keep putting in my own head that I don't spend enough time with them. That if I work my business or I'm on my phone when my kids are around, I'm neglecting them in some way. When in reality, I could be at a full-time job and I could leave them with a babysitter all day and feel guilty for that. But instead I'm home and maybe I'm working on my phone a little bit, but I'm home with them still. So for me, this homework assignment I gave you guys, I looked at it and I was like, wow, it was like 7 hours of time with my kids that was like unplugged. I wasn't working, like I was just with my kids. And there was 2 hours of my business. And I was like, wow, here I am thinking that I'm just this terrible mother because I work 2 hours of the day. I'm just terrible because I neglected my kids for those 2 hours. And I say neglected, like I didn't really neglect them, but I was focused on my business at that time and I felt guilty for it. But I spent 7 hours with them before that. So maybe you have a full-time job if you're not a mom, or maybe you are a mom and you have a full-time job. You have your job. You don't feel guilty at your job because you're working. You're doing your job because that's your job. That's what your boss tells you to do. That's what gives you a paycheck. So that's what the point of that exercise was to show you guys where you are. It's not for anybody to judge you. It's for you to see where you are and to prioritize your goals based on your business with the time that you have. So it's going to look different for all of us. Not any of us are going to have the same exact schedule. We have completely different lives, completely different goals, and that's okay. But I want you guys to focus on the business activity, the business building activities that you do in a day. Focus on the specifics of what you do. So what I noticed on a lot of those, I was just trying to go through and respond to everybody tonight, was a lot of you guys were just like business, like Beachbody business. There was no specifics to what you had done. You just said, oh, I worked my business. And what I've noticed in myself a lot is when I say I worked my business, I'm like scrolling social media and I'm like, that's business building. I'm connecting with people. I'm watching my coaches' stories and I'm like, I'm making sure that my coaches are posting on their stories. And you get into that mindset of I'm working right now, but it's not intentional work time. And you start to waste time because of that. You get lost in that. And then you don't do the business activities like inviting that are going to build your business. So if you're not doing those business building activities, they call them income producing activities, your business is going to stay where it is. Even if you're working for 6 hours a day, you're not doing the business activities that you need to be doing to grow your business. And so that's what I want you guys to start focusing on is what are the business building activities that you're doing every day? And what are things that you're doing in a day that aren't really building your business? I gave you guys some examples there. So then I want you guys to think about your top priorities. So before you say yes to doing something, I want you to ask yourselves, like, is this yes aligned with my priorities? So my priorities are my kids, my husband, my faith, and then my business. Those are my 4 big things that are like my life is all about at this point, at the space that I'm in right now. But my faith is always going to come first. My husband is always going to come second. My kids are always going to come third. That's biblical. Sorry if I'm not to offend anybody, but that's like according to the Bible, what the Bible aligns your life with is God has said, God first, then your spouse, then your kids, then your hobbies or your work or your job. So number 4 is my priority. My business is my number 4 priority in my life. And I align myself with that every single day. So I start my day, and you guys will see my typical schedule in a little bit, but I start my day with God. Like I'm having quiet time with him. And then I go into my personal time with my workout so I can focus on me and I can make sure my health is a priority. I schedule in every day, like when I'm going to spend time with my husband, what time I'm going to be with my kids, all of that. And it's something that helps me to just know that I'm putting them as a priority above my business. So I want you guys on the call tonight, you can even put it in the chat, write down what your top 3 or 4 priorities are in the order of the priority that they are in your life. And then every time that somebody asks you to do something, hey, do you want to go grab coffee? Hey, do you want to go to this new, I don't know, some kind of adventure with me? Does it align with your priority? Can it fit into your schedule based on the schedule that you have with your priorities first, and then that thing being plugged into it? So what goes on your calendar? The first thing you're going to do is start with your non-negotiables. So for me, like I said, my first thing that I want to schedule in every single day is my quiet time with God. So I have my quiet time. It's at 4 a.m. because I'm a new mom. I have young kids. So trying to have quiet time when they're awake is impossible. But I also know that when they nap, that's when I try and get work done. So for me, 4 a.m., it sucks. I'm up all night nursing my son usually. I say all night. It's like usually twice. There's been a couple nights where he slept all the way till 4, and I'm like, yeah, he slept through the night, but that's not been the case every day. So 4 a.m. sucks. I go to bed at 9 or 10, so I get a typical like 6 hours of sleep with a couple interruptions, and I'm tired, and it's not the most fun time to wake up. I don't love it. I'm not a morning person. I would love to sleep in as long as I could, but I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, and I'm a better Christian when I wake up and I have my time first for my time with God and for my workout. So that's the very first thing I do is 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. I'm getting ready for my workout, and I'm in the garage with my Bible and with my devotional and all my notebooks. I have like 8 billion notebooks, and I'm just having an hour, 45 minutes typically of quiet time. I'm sipping on my Energize, and I'm getting ready for my workout. And at 5 a.m., I log into our virtual gym, and I work out with a couple girls who wake up early with me. And so then I do my workout from 5 to 5:30, doing Meltdown 100 right now. So 20 to 30-minute workouts, perfect for new moms. I was a brand new mom with 80-day obsession, and I can tell you, hour-long workouts were not fun when you have a newborn. So I'm very thankful for 30-minute workouts with Morning Meltdown. So I schedule in that time for me in the mornings. And if it looks like the morning is going to be kind of chaotic, I'll move it to a different time of the day. But I really try to keep a consistent 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. quiet time and workout. My next thing I'm gonna schedule in is when I'm gonna spend time with my husband. What kind of, or no, I'm sorry, I'll be honest. So the next thing I do is doctor's appointments, things that the kids have going on. So my son plays t-ball, he goes to preschool. I have to account for like drive time to get him places. I have to account for the time that we'll spend at the t-ball fields. If there's doctor's appointments for any of them, like this month is crazy for doctor's appointments, I have to fill all those in. And so I fill all those into my planner for the week. I look at what's going on and I say, okay, now I have my workout in there, I have my kids in there, I have my time with my husband in there, I have all of our extracurricular activities, all my doctor's appointments. Everything is laid out in my planner. I'll show you guys. I have like a day designer planner. It's nothing fancy. It's from Target. It was $20. In here, I have all of my family. I don't know if you could see my screen, but it's a big calendar with just all the things written in. And then every day has a specific like hour by hour thing. I showed you guys a picture of that in the post today. So hour by hour, I fill in those little things that are happening. And then what I do is I look at where I can fit my business in. So I obviously want to make sure that I have that blank white space because that's when I'm home with my kids. That's when I'm spending time with them. So I'll look around and I'll say, okay, I can fit in 30 minutes here to do some invites. I can fit in 30 minutes here for connections. I can check on my team page here. I can write my post for the day here. I can, I have team call that night. So maybe I can go into my office at 7 instead of right at the call, and my husband can take care of the kids if he's home from 7 to 8, and he can do bedtime that night. So I account for all of the things that are going on in the day, and I make sacrifices, you guys. I miss bedtime on Mondays if my husband's home because I come into my office at 7 o'clock and I get my business stuff done for the day. I get myself ready and in the good mindset for the call. And then I go into the call at 8, and then 8:30, 9 o'clock, the call's over, and I go spend time with my husband. But I make that sacrifice to lose that bedtime with my kids that night because I want to make sure that I'm building my business. I want to make sure that they know that like what I'm doing, and they know Monday nights, my kids know they get to go watch wrestling with dad. He lets them stay up a little bit late, and then he tucks them into bed, and they'll come in and they'll give me a kiss and usually interrupt the call. When he's gone, it's a lot harder. Tonight I was really nervous for the call because I wasn't sure if I was going to get them to sleep on time, but luckily they were all exhausted, so they went to sleep. But I make sacrifices. I also work on Saturday mornings. I also work Sunday after church. My whole family comes home and they usually take a nap, and I usually sit at my computer and I do a marketing plan for the week, or I do my calendar for the week and I look at what's coming up. And so it's really important to me to make sure that I'm making those small sacrifices and I'm not taking naps during the day when I'm really exhausted and I wish I could take a nap. I'm waking up early when I don't want to wake up early. I'm going to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock because I'm making sure I got all of my business activities done. I'm giving myself a gut check every day. And then what I do specifically for my business is I make sure that I plug in exactly what I'm doing during that time that I schedule my business time. I'm putting in exactly what I'm doing in that business time. So I don't come in and say, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I said I was going to work from 9 to 9:30. I don't open my phone or come to my computer and say, now what am I going to do? I already know, according to my calendar, I'm going to do invites from 9 to 9:30. That's my plan for that time period. So I'm not checking notifications. I'm not checking the team page. I'm not checking stories. I'm going onto my computer or in my phone, and I'm going into my invites instantly. And that's the only thing I do until all of my invites are done or until that 30-minute time period hits or however I decide to do my invites that day. So this is what a typical day kind of looks like for me. This is actually my week coming up. This is what I sat down and did on Sunday. So you guys can see here on Sunday, 6 a.m. And I know this is so overwhelming and I want you guys to really not get overwhelmed because I know I've shown this to Rachel before and she's like, that stresses me out. I don't want you guys to be stressed out by it. I just want you guys to feel like you have a plan for your business and a plan for your life. And all of this white space that you'll see on this page here and then on this page is all my time that I have to do whatever I'm pleased to do. So I specifically, on Sundays, I wake up at 6, I get ready. Church, 7 to 2 is usually our church time. We're really involved in our church, so we're at church all day typically. And then we come home, we have lunch, and then at 2:30, my kids are usually napping. My husband's doing yard work or he's napping or whatever. 2:30, I sit down in my office or at my desk in my bedroom, and I write out my schedule for the week. I write out my marketing plan for the week. I prep for the team call the next day. And I get a good hour or two of business time in to make sure that I'm set up for success for the week. You guys can see every day is pretty typical. Monday through Friday, Bible study 4 to 5 a.m. I should work out and shower 5 to 6. And then as soon as my shower is done, the kids are usually up by that point. So when I say write posts and then do my challenge group check-ins and then the to-do list, that's typically not happening at that point because that's right when my kids are waking up. But that's my goal. I have kids and I can't create their schedule, their sleep schedule for them. They're going to wake up when they wake up. So I have a plan of what I'll do if they don't wake up. But if they wake up, I snuggle with them. I have some coffee. I sit on the couch. We watch cartoons. Once they're settled, I can write a post real quick on my phone. Or once they're settled, I can write out my to-do list for the day. Once they're settled, I can go into my challenge groups and I can just make sure all my challenges are set for the day. But those are the only things I'm doing at that time. I maybe have to post my workout videos and stuff like that still, but that's my intentional time in that 1 hour from 6 to 7, or maybe it's 7 to 8, where I'm just putting in a couple little business things there. And then the very first thing, so the hardest thing for a lot of us, for me even as well, is invites. It's uncomfortable. I don't love doing invites. And so that's the very first business thing I do for my first little block of time after my morning routine. Is I get right into my invites. I usually set a timer for 30 minutes. I go through some of my recent posts. I go through people I've had conversations with, and I just invite as many as I can in 30 minutes. Sometimes I get 10 to 15 minutes. Again, kids cry, things are happening, but I try and do that stuff while I'm nursing my son. I have a baby that I nurse, and he just sits there, and I'm just holding him, and I usually would get on my phone and scroll. So that's when I do my invites. Is I'm nursing him. I'm not scrolling. I'm inviting at that time. My kids are playing in the playroom, and I'm sitting on the couch, and they're kind of distracted. I'm doing invites real quick. So it's those little pockets of time. So I don't want you guys to look at this and think at 9 a.m. or at 8:30. I'm in it. I'm specific to. I have to be inviting at this point. I don't care what my kids are doing. That's my goal. Is by 8:30, 9 o'clock, I want to have my invites started or done. And then I have different calls that I do. I have one-on-ones with my coaches. So you guys can see just throughout the day, I have different things that I do. I know on Wednesdays, I have a Bible study group in the mornings that I lead, and I have a Bible study I attend in the evenings. And so I have to do that. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I pick up my son from school. I take him to school. I have a doctor's appointment for one on Friday. I had one today. And so as I plug those things in, all of these yellow ones are pretty much set. So when I go in and I plug in the appointments for the week, I just have to move things around. So for instance, this week, I was like, okay, well, I can't do invites at 8:30 because I'm dropping Brian off at school. So I'll move it down till right when I get home. And then when I have For James's his doctor's appointment today, I usually would be working on my to-do list at that time, but I was like, well, I can't work on my to-do list at that time because I'll be at the doctor. So I moved it to a different part of the day. And so once you add in those things, so you can see purple is church, pink is personal time, yellow is business, and blue is family. And then the white is just extra family, like unplugged time. I'm not on my phone at those times. I'm putting it in another room or on the charger because it's usually dead by then. And I'm just being with my kids. I'm not perfect with that. I think that's a struggle we all have, but I really aim to try and be super present with my kids. And I know that if my phone's with me, it's usually a distraction, so I have to put it down somewhere else where I'm not, so I can make sure that I am present with them. I'll take a few pictures. I don't even post on my stories live usually. I take the pictures on my camera roll, and then when I get to my next work session or my next time that I'm nursing my little one, I will upload them onto Insta stories at that time. So that's a little fun tip for you guys. That's what my typical like morning schedule looks like. But you guys can see 3:30 is usually when I'm done working for the day. So my cutoff is usually about 3:30 when the kids wake up. So they usually nap around this time. If I can get a triple nap time, that's always great. And then I have the whole afternoon with them. I have different church stuff that we might do, but I have just family time. It's pure family time. And then we put the kids to bed at 8. We have a set bedtime for our kids, and 8 o'clock is that for us. So the kids go to bed, and as soon as the kids go to bed, I come into the room real quick. My husband goes and gets his lunch ready for the next day for work. He, unwinds for the day for himself, and I come in and I check into my challenge groups real quick. I check on the team pages. I check any important messages that might be happening, and then I'm done at 30 minutes. So from 8:30 to 10, that's time with my husband every single night. We don't really get date nights at this point because date nights are kind of hard when you have 3 little ones. So I make sure that intentional time is him and I. The kids are asleep. We do something. We might play card games. We might watch a show or whatever it might be. But that's my time with him. That's the only time I have with him. And it's important that I have that time with him. So I schedule it in so I know that I'm not making any plans. And if there's something that comes up, I will adjust fire as I have to. But I really try to make that time open for him. So what I want you guys to do with your business time now is to look at what you guys posted about your schedule on Friday. And I want you guys to really think about what your priorities were on that day and how they might be different for what you want to go or for where you want to go in your business. So were you super laser focused in all of your tasks, or were you kind of working, kind of scrolling, kind of this, kind of wasting time, if I'm being honest? So I want you guys to not just plug in your work blocks like I did here. I want you guys to plug in your work blocks and say, okay, from 12:30 to 3, maybe 2:30, 12:30 to 2:30, my kids are usually napping, or I have a lunch break from 12:30 to 1. That's when I'm going to do my invites. Or I have, breakfast in the morning. My kids are usually distracted, so I can do a couple messages then, or whatever it might look like. But take your time blocks that you have for your business and actually plug in what activities you're going to do and do those activities only. And you'll instantly feel more balanced in all of your day because you'll just go through. So I just took this business activity tracker, you guys. We all have the Successful Business Activity Tracker. If you guys pay attention to this, I honestly just have all of the boxes on here. I have step 1 is be proof the products work. I have to do my workout and make sure that I'm being a proof of the product there. The next thing I do is invites. That's part of one of the vital behaviors. Connections, vital behavior. Follow-ups, vital behavior. Inboxes is just making sure I'm checking in with everybody, all my challengers and stuff, vital behavior. Check into my challenge groups, vital behavior. So all of the things that I did here were just taking what's on the business activity tracker and plugging it into when I was doing it. So it wasn't me sitting down at the end of the day yeah, I kind of did that. I kind of did that. It's no, I did that because I was sitting down from 12:30 to 1 and I was doing my invites at that time or whatever it might be. So take that business activity tracker. That's my biggest tip. Take the tasks on the business activity tracker and plug those into your work times. And from there, once you have all of those done on your business activity tracker for the day, then you can do your to-do list items. Then you can watch that training on YouTube that you want to watch. You can go to the Champions page and watch that training. You can join the National Wake Up Call, all of those things. Those are extra. If you're not doing your invites and your follow-ups and your connections and your proof of the product, you don't have a business. So all of that training is useless. I hate to be blunt in that, but you have to be doing the hard work that you don't want to do in order for those trainings to do anything for your business. So I want you guys to ask yourself if your activities on Friday were in line with your goals, or do you have some work? Do you have some areas that you can focus on that you can start to change where you're going with this? Another tip I have is when you have those work times is to eliminate your distractions. So again, you set your daily intentions. I showed you guys my whiteboard, why I set the goals I set. It's in front of me every day. I work from a to-do list, so I don't want to say I don't ever, because sometimes I'll do something and then I'll add it to my to-do list so I can check it off. I'm definitely that person. But I try to always work from a list. And when I don't work from a list, that's typically when I'm not getting my business stuff done for the day. And so I know that I'm slacking off on those days and I have to fix that. I don't have notifications turned on for my phone for any social media whatsoever. So I don't ever have anything pop up. So the only notification that comes up on my phone is for a text message, and that's on silent. So I usually have my phone face down and I don't even see it until I'm ready to go answer a text message. I don't open messages until it's time for me to open messages. I don't open my Instagram until it's time for me to do my connections on Instagram. I really try to focus and be intentional on those things. Yes, as soon as I open Instagram and I'm like, I'm going to answer all my Instagram messages right now, the first thing I do is like, ooh, who's that story? Let me look at it. Oh, let me scroll a little. And then I'm like, nope, focus, focus. You're only doing messages right now. And so I have to realign myself constantly because I'm a squirrel. I want to see what everybody's doing and I want to look at all the red buttons. And it's easy to get caught up and distracted in all of that. So turn off your notifications. Don't be a slave to your phone, you guys. The biggest tip I have, I promise you, if you build a business that is so successful, you get yourself to 10-star elite, you're a top 10 coach, whatever it might be, if you neglected your family the whole way or you didn't take care of yourself because you were a slave to your phone, you won't feel good about it. So make sure that you are not living on your phone. I tell my team this all the time. If you feel like you're messaging somebody and you're like, I have to message them right away or I might lose them. If you lose that person because you didn't respond right away, you don't want to work with them anyways, because then they expect that as soon as they join as a client. So now they're your client. You were at their beck and call, constantly answering their messages. As soon as they sent it, you were on it. You were opening it like as they typed it. You're on it. And then they join and they're in your challenge group and they expect the same thing. And you do that for 3, 4, 5, 6 people. You hit Success Club 10, you have 5 people now that expect you to be at their beck and call. What about your husband? What about your kids? What about your job? What about your personal time? Now you're losing all of that because you're so focused on somebody else. So those notifications have to be turned off for you to be able to live your life outside of this business, because you're not Beachbody. You're still the person you were before you joined. This is something that you're adding to your life that you are passionate about, but you have to be intentional with those little things that you're doing. So I usually have one screen open at a time. If you struggle with notifications popping up on Facebook, if you're on your computer, you can put a little sticky note in the bottom left corner so you don't see them. Put your phone on silent when you're working. If my grandma calls or whoever calls, my sister, while I'm working, I ignore the call. I don't answer it because I'm working right now, and I'll call them back when I'm done. When I have my white space time and I don't have anything going on, that's when I'll have my phone calls. If you need to work by a timer, they have like timers set, like timer limits for doing some of the activities on the business activity tracker. That's always a really fun way for me, especially with invites. I'm like, cool, I got 10 minutes. I'm going to send as many as I can in these next 10 minutes. And then create a reward for yourself after your work block. So for me, my reward is at 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock when my kids are up from their naps, I get to just be mom for the rest of the day. I typically don't have work after 2:30 or 3, and that feels so good. If I have gotten all of my business stuff done by then, my reward is I just get to be mom for the rest of the day. My husband gets to come home. He has a happy wife who achieved all she wanted to achieve. Hopefully the house is clean. Hopefully the kids are happy. But I feel good because I got my stuff done. So that's my reward for myself, is I get to celebrate. Like, I pat myself on the back. I did that. So then check yourself daily. So at the end of every day before you go to bed, it's convenient for me because my desk is in my bedroom, so I have to walk past it to get in bed. But did I get the most important things done? Did I do my vital behaviors today? Did I set the next day's to-do list and priorities? For me, I do that the next day. Some people like to do it the day before, but I do it the day of. Do I feel more stressed, or do I feel like I have high energy? Maybe you ask yourself why you have those things. If you weren't productive, why weren't you productive? Or why did you feel like you didn't get enough done? Ask yourself, like, do that time audit. I do that every day now. Like today, it was all filled with pink and hardly any business because I wasn't super focused, because I got distracted. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And so I'm not perfect in any of this, but I really try to stick with my schedule. Where was I at? Was I efficient with my time? Did I use the times that I did have wisely, or were you distracted? Did you go to invite on Instagram and then see what Sally was doing and then get stuck in her post, and then you clicked on someone else's, and now you're watching a video, and now you're on the champions page, and now you're on the team page, and then you're like, oh, I have no time to work my business. And you really did. You just wasted it all. How are you going to be purposed for the rest of the week? Like, what can you change from today that you didn't do well? What can you do better to make that better for the rest of the week? Does your family know about your goals? Like, I told my husband, he's gone this week, but before he left, I said, when you come home, I have this push group I'm doing with my team. I'm probably going to work a lot more in the evenings, maybe like an hour a night instead of that 15 to 30 minutes, if that's okay. He's like, yeah, cool. Like, we'll have an hour or two, or an hour a night, maybe a couple nights we don't get to have it. That's fine. But I communicated that with him. He didn't always support me in this business. So if you struggle with that, just know that, like, that was a struggle we had back in the day. But I showed him through, this is what, if you have a spouse, this is total side note. If you have a spouse that doesn't support you in this business, you have to prove them wrong. And the only way to prove them wrong is to get results from this. And so for me, my husband was like, that's a pyramid scheme. You'll never make money. It's not sustainable. Yeah, you made that much this month, but how much are you going to make next month? I heard all of the things. He hated Shakeology. I wasn't going to do the home workouts. He sounds like a jerk. He's really an awesome guy, I promise you. But he just didn't believe in any of it because my track record for doing things that I committed to was not good. And so I had to show him, hey, look, I earned this much last month. I earned it again this month plus some. Hey, I rank advance. Or every time this is my favorite thing to do when I help a client and they send me like a transformation picture, or they say thank you or whatever. Like, when I get that, like, somebody sends me something that says thank you for helping me, I show him. I'm like, look at this. Not look what I did, like, ooh, look at me, but this is the time that I'm taking away from you and I and from the kids and I. This is what it's for. And that gives them a sense of what I'm doing so that they're involved in it, and they're not just seeing me on my phone constantly or seeing me work constantly. They're seeing why. They're seeing the fruits of my labor. And so communicate those things with your spouse. Share the wins with them and let them be a part of that with you. But in order for you to get the wins, you have to be actually doing the work. So if you're away from your husband, or you're watching a show and you're on your phone, you're like, oh, I'm just going to get a couple things done. Make sure you get results out of those couple things that you're doing, or else you could have put that time into your spouse, which probably would have been better for your marriage. So those are just like super squirrel moment, but I want to make sure that that's clear for you guys. And then, did you schedule time to reflect on your progress at the end of the week? So I like to do this on Friday evenings. I like to sit down and say, okay, how did the week look? Okay, I sucked this week. Tomorrow morning, I for sure have to wake up before my family and I have to get some work done. Or, no, I did good. I think I can sleep in. I'll enjoy the morning, and then I'll probably unplug a little bit and get some work done while my husband plays with the kids outside. And then Sunday, again, come home from church, and that's when I'm planning out my next week. So I'm really purposeful with those two things on Saturday and Sunday. So my call to action for you guys is to write out your schedule for the rest of the week with all of the things that you have going on. Make it kind of how I had it. You can do it on a piece of paper. You can do it on a planner. That specifically was in Google Mail, and it syncs to my iPhone. So I have those same things in my iPhone. So I actually get alerts. It'll pop up and it'll say invites. And I'm like, crap, I got to do some invites for today. And I'll sit down and I'll do my invites if the kids are distracted at that time. And I want you guys, once we post a recording of this call to the Strive to Shine group, I want you guys to put a picture of your schedule that looks kind of like this. I mean, you'll make it your own, of course, but something like this for the rest of your week with the specifics of what business activities you're doing in those times. If you're doing personal development while you're commuting to work, all of it. Like, give us all the details of anything that's on this business activity tracker. Show us where that's fitting into your day. And we're going to keep you accountable to that, or I'm going to keep you accountable to that. This is my topic for the week, so I'm kind of managing this part of it this week. And I'm really going to be checking in with you guys as often as I can to make sure that you guys are doing the things that you're saying you're doing, because this is going to set the foundation for the rest of this group. If you guys can master your time management, all of the goals that you set, all of the Diamond and Emerald and Success Club and all the things that you've said that you want to achieve in this 6 weeks is 100% possible if you're intentional with your time. So that's my challenge to you guys, is write out your schedule for the rest of the week and really be intentional with it and share with us what the schedule looks like. So there's 142 chats. Let me go through and see what some of those say. see if there's anything that I missed.
Brooke,
You guys can like unmute and ask questions as well if I miss anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm in the dark now, sorry. So amazing call as always. I want to speak because Brooke and I have been business besties for a while, and Brooke and I operate very differently, and we play off each other's strengths. I suck at this. So I know that there's a piece of the demographic on this call that is looking at Brooke's schedule and say instantly, you are disregarding the schedule because you feel like it's overwhelming. So you're like, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not good at this stuff. So I'm speaking to you because that's me. And I, for the longest time, used that as my crutch. Oh, I'm not good at organization. I'm not good at time management. I'm not good at fill in the blank when it comes to this kind of stuff. And it held me back in my business. And so you will constantly in your business stay in the realm of gut check because you're always going to struggle with this in different seasons of your life. I think one thing that's really important to take home is that you have to give yourself the ability to reboot the next day. When you have a schedule like this that goes awry, like sounds like Brooke's day went awry, you have a schedule like that where it goes to heck in a handbasket. Tomorrow, Tuesday, you get back to your schedule or you get back to your business activities. It's just like your workouts. You make up workouts 41 and 42. You don't just be a day behind your group. You make it up and you figure out a way to fit it in your schedule. Your coaching business should be that exact same priority. And for those of you who are currently working a corporate job, because I did that poll in the chat and was realizing there was a lot of people on here that are full-time career or part-time career women or men. I really encourage you to embrace these. You have to do this time blocking that Brooke talks about, or all of your priorities for your business are going to go down the toilet because your day is going to be so crazy. And being busy is not a badge of honor. If this matters to you, this will become a priority in your life, and you will find a way to make this work. And I don't say that to be ugly, like this is important to me. My life is different than Brooke's. Her life is different than XYZ on this call, but we don't wear busy as a badge of honor. We've entered into this 6-week push because we want something different for our life and for our families. And so don't wear that as a badge of honor. Go into this push season with the mentality that you're going to overcome those crutches, those kryptonites, the things that are holding you back. And for me, it's time management. For me, it's organization. And those are things that I'm going to tackle head on. But if you looked at Brooke's schedule, don't just shut down. Like, you've got to figure out what works for you. Even if it's not what Brooke does and it's something different, you have to take the time to figure out what works for you. Don't just shut down after this call. Take some nuggets, take them away and apply it, because there was some really great knowledge dropped in there. So, okay, awesome.
I would say like the biggest takeaway that you guys can have is to, if you did take nothing else away, when you say you're working your business, what are you doing in that business time? That's if anything, if the rest of it is like, no way, I can't do that, it will stress me the heck out. I don't want alarms telling me when to do everything. When you say, okay, I'm working my business on my lunch break, what are you doing in those? You have 15 minutes of invites. Okay, so from 12 to 12:15, you're inviting. 12:15 to 12:30, you're following up. 12:30 to 12:45, you're answering messages. 12:45 to 1, you're writing a post for the day. Done. Like, there's your power hour. So I saw a couple of you asking in here about like a full-time work schedule. When I worked full-time, it was 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so I woke up at 4. Again, I hated it. When I first came home, I was like, I'm sleeping in. I didn't have any kids. I like thoroughly enjoyed that for a good like 6 months. And then I had kids and I realized I'll never sleep again. But I'm in for at least 18 years. So, but I did. I woke up at 4. I cried through all of the insanity workouts because they were an hour long and it was torture. I don't know why that was the program I started with. So I did that for an hour, and then I would shower. So 5 to 5:30 or 6, I was getting ready for work, but I was listening to personal development. And I still, to this day, when I shower, when I get ready, when I clean, when I drive, it's all personal development or trainings or audible books. Like, I listen to so much personal development throughout the day because my day is crazy. I have kids pulling me constantly, and I get out of my own positive headspace because I have 3 kids fighting each other, and now I'm fighting them, and then my husband comes home and offloads his day, and so I need personal development. But anyways, so 4 to 5 was my workout, 5 to 6 was my get ready, personal development time, have breakfast. I would leave for work about 6:30, and on the commute, I would listen to personal development, get to work at 7, and I couldn't be on my phone or my computer, so from 7 to noon, I was working. And then from 12 to 1, I went to my car, and I sat in my car, and I drank my shake. I brought my little cup blender. I made it in the little lunchroom. I sat in my car. I drank my shake instead of going through the McDonald's drive-through like I had before. And I would work my business, and I would do 15 minutes of this, 15 minutes of that, and I would do my business in that 1 hour. I would go back to work at 1. I'd get off at 6, and on the drive home, that's when I called my family. Hey, I want to be my mom at the time before she passed away. Like, that was my time that I would talk to her, and I had my family time. I'd call my sister, I'd call my grandma or whoever. That was my family time that I had. And then when I got home, it was cook dinner, clean up the house, take care of the dogs. And then it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. I'd sit down, I'd check into everything, and then I would go to bed and I'd start over. So it was like, I mean, it feels like when you're in that moment, it feels like everything is just so redundant, and you're constantly doing and doing and doing. And that's why it's important to have the workout that is focused on you. That's why it's important to have your personal development that's building your mindset throughout the day. It's important on a Saturday to go get your nails done, to take a bath, to ask somebody to take your kids for you, or to do something for you. If you hate cleaning your house, like, that could be one of your first goals, is to hire a housekeeper so you don't have to come home and clean your house. Or you hate cooking, that could be a goal, is for you to pay for those food services to come bring you meals. Like, all of those things are things you can do. You just have to find what doesn't bring you joy and fix it for yourself. And the only way to fix it, when I built my business from Little Brooke, who was a discount coach, to Diamond, I was working an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours a day. That didn't include my workout. My workout I include as personal time, not business time, but hour and a half to 2 hours a day. And that was how I built myself to Diamond. I was earning $1,500 a month. And income disclaimer, again, it's very different, but that's what it was for me. And that's where I was able to, like, start building something big from that. And it's just grown from there because I've continued to be intentional. And I'll tell you guys, when I quit my job and I had more time on my hands, my business tanked, because I was like, oh, I'll get to it later. Oh, well, I have all this time, I'll just do it later. And then I never did it. And I got into, like, management mode of, like, oh, I have this team and they're all going to be my diamonds and it's going to be fantastic. And then they all quit. And then here's Brooke still sitting here, and I'm like, great, now I have to start over. And so you have to continue to be intentional in this time and make sure that you don't let go of that, because when you do, your business will start to fall backwards too. So hopefully that helps you guys that work full-time. I promise you it's doable. Full-time with kids, I don't have personal experience. I know Rachel might have experience with that, but I would, again, like, when you come home, be with your family. The kids go to bed, take a half hour to 45 minutes, but your lunch break is work time. Before work is work time, and you have to make those sacrifices, like I said. I'm going through to make sure I didn't miss any questions or anything. If you guys have questions that I haven't answered, please feel free to unmute. I think it was just a lot of responses to, okay. Sorry, play some music. Do, 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 do. The calendar I used was Google, so it's on Google Mail. I use Gmail, and so if you go to your Gmail, there's, like, the little boxes at the top right on your computer screen, and you click on that and it has calendar, and then my phone, it just syncs with it. And I had color coded it with that. You can add calendars, so I added a personal calendar, I added a church calendar, I added a family calendar, and then each time that you add something onto your calendar, you pick the color that it is based on whatever the activity was, and then it makes it that color for you. Okay, Google Calendar. Can't afford meal service, that's just a goal that you'll have. Okay, perfect. Did I miss anybody's questions? Because I got to the bottom of the chat, so if I missed your question, don't be shy. I'm, like, super shy on calls, and I always hate that I didn't ask the questions I wanted to ask. So if you're shy, please ask. Okay.
Can I ask one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't see all the details of your calendar, but on nights that you have team calls, is that an extra block of work for that day, or is that kind of, you know, I don't know, if you're doing a power hour or something, do you just use that time for some work, or do you just kind of add your follow-ups and other things around that?
So the team call is an extra thing I do, so that usually takes away from time with my husband that night.
Okay.
And that's just an agreement that we've had.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. When he's deployed, it's great, because not great, I mean, that sounds terrible, but when he's deployed, I'm like, woohoo, I don't have to, like, nobody needs anything from me from 8 to 10. I get to just be broke and I can do whatever I want. That was terrible. I hope he never hears this call, because he's going to be like, oh, great, I'll just deploy all the time. He deploys all the time anyways, so. Okay, any other questions, you guys? Again, don't be shy.
What was the A or B thing? I missed that.
Rachel asked who was working full-time, or who was working, or who was home full-time, or anything opposite.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm home. Thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect. I would really try, for anybody who stays home, if you can, like, when your husband comes home, try to be with your husband, because that's what makes the men resent the business, is when they come home and they're like, you were home today. I know you have the kids to take care of. I know that there's a lot of house stuff happening, but, like, you could have fit it in somewhere, I'm sure. Go to the bathroom and, like, do a couple invites, whatever. Like, I really try to make sure that he's a priority when he comes home, because that makes him not hate the business.
Can I ask one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we're all like hate the inviting part. How do you come off as not like cold messaging somebody? Like, how do you start that? Because that's just like my biggest wall is the invites. I'm just not good at it.
So I invite and it might be different for some of the other leaders. I don't invite people unless I've had a conversation with them. So I start conversations by happy birthdays. If I'm going to comment on their post, I try to think of a way I can message them instead of I'll comment on the post, but I'll also message them. So they had a baby. Instead of the typical, oh, congratulations, I'll message them like, hey, congratulations, how are you feeling? Or they got married or they got engaged. Like, how was the wedding? Did you have a great time? How's the engagement? Do you have any plans for the wedding? If somebody like is going through a hard time, I'll message them, hey, I'm praying for you. I wanted you to know that, like, I'm adding you to my prayer list. And then I actually do pray for them. Like, so I start messages with people based on things that they're sharing. So when I scroll and I do my connections, I look for ways I can message people. But a lot of it is like birthday messages, or like a lot, if you're on Instagram especially, just watch people's stories. Don't watch coaches' stories, watch your followers' stories. That creates conversation. Make sure you're adding the hearts and you're doing all the things and you're interacting with their story. And then now you have somebody you can invite.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
With the invites, I find that any of the free challenges, like, I never get anyone from the free challenges. Like, everyone that I have gotten as a client or as a coach have been people that have seen my progress and that I have been intentional. So when you're talking about invites, are you talking about like challenge invites, or are you talking about invites to like coaching, or to be in part of your virtual gym?
So I invite everybody to a challenge group, unless, like, this week I was running a free group that I started today. So all of my invites last week were to the free group specifically. So then I get people into this free group. I did a clean eating one specifically, but I'll do ones like time management. People, that's a strength of mine. So I do a free group on time management. And then from there, I have this people I've built connections with, and I'll invite them to a challenge group from there. But typically, I don't do a ton of free groups because they're a waste of time, in my opinion. I feel like I don't ever get the payback out of that for what I put into it, because it's free. People didn't invest anything in themselves, and they're not going to show up in the group. So I don't love free groups personally, but I'll do them every now and then if I feel like I need to just rebuild some trust with people, I guess you could say. So a lot of my invites are specifically to the challenge group, and then anybody that says they want to join the challenge group, like we've talked about price, they got their package that they want to get, I invite everybody to coaching. Hey, just so you know, you can sign up to be a coach for free with your challenge pack. It'll cost you $15.95 a month after, or I think it's $17.47 now. It'll cost you $17.47 a month after that. But if you continue your supplements, it saves you $15 a month. You can cancel anytime. But if you don't sign up now, you miss out on that discount for next month if you do decide. So everybody gets a coach invite. A lot, I would say probably 50% say yes, 50% say no. But I also have a military spouse market where it's free for us. So that helps a lot more because now they're saving $30 instead of $15. But my coach invites are typically to the discount first. And then once somebody joins as a discount, I started as a discount coach. That's why I'm passionate about that. I saw the light once I saw the team and I saw the community and I started getting confidence in myself. And then I was like, I can actually do something with this. So invites for coaching specifically would be on a post where I talked about coaching and they liked or commented on it. I do invite everybody that likes or comments those. And I'll say, hey, I have a sneak, like this week, I have a sneak peek that's starting on Friday. I saw you liked that post that I was talking about it with. Were you interested in joining? Just go, you have to be bold. Like the answer is always no if you don't ask. And I know in my heart that it's a pure invite because this has changed my life and I want that for everybody that I know. So I don't have to feel weird about inviting somebody to something that's changed my life. And if it offends them, I'll apologize, but they're not my people. I'm not trying to push anybody into this. I just want to offer it. I would offer you a sale for a purse if I found a purse that I love. I'm offering you this, you know.
So I have a question. I actually meant to ask earlier. With the post about coaching, is it one where you kind of do an invite to coaching, or where you just mention that you do it? Like I did my post yesterday where I mentioned that I love what I was doing, so I decided to start coaching to help other people. And then I kind of did a call to action for if anybody wanted to know where to start on their fitness journey to reach out. But I wasn't really like inviting anybody to coach. Would I still invite those people who reacted to coaching?
I feel like it depends. So like I do a lot of posts where I breadcrumb. Like I did a post yesterday that asked, or I don't know if it was yesterday, but sometime this week I was like, what was the worst age for your kids? And I talked about how all my kids are at different ages where they're just misbehaving in ways I don't understand. And then in the middle of all of that, I was like, here's all the ages I'm facing. My husband's gone. I run a home business. And so that was just a quick little insert. And then I went on with the rest of the post. I would not invite from that post. But last night, for instance, I talked about, what was my post last night? Last night was hold on, I have it here. That's really bad. Mom brain. Oh, it was a family photo. I talked about time management and how I'm leading a call today on time management. And then I did a hard invite to, if you want to learn more about how I manage my time and how I run a business, you can join this group. So everybody on that, inviting. Tonight I'm doing a post about our community, and it's not, my call to action on that post is what was the hardest transition to motherhood that you faced, and then I'm going to talk about the loneliness of motherhood and how this community has helped me face that. So I'm going to attract a lot of lonely moms to that post, and I'm going to invite them to coaching from there, because in the beginning of it I talk about like what the hard transition was, and then I answer how this has helped me. So then I'm going to offer them that solution. Does that make sense? All right, any other questions? I love it, you guys. I'm not trying to rush anybody. My kids are sleeping. So. I do have to wake up at 4, so maybe I should go to bed.
I just wanted to say that was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad it helped. Rachel said it's easy to create restrictions around who you should or shouldn't invite and when. You have to find what works for you. I've tried cold invites on Instagram. Like I came at a summit last year, like super fired up. I'm like, I'm gonna invite everybody to coaching, and then I hated it and nobody joined, and I was like, this is stupid, I'm not doing it. But for some coaches it works great. That's just not my market, and that's okay. I gave it a shot and it didn't work. So give these tips a shot, and if they don't work, then try something else. Okay. Well, thank you guys all for hopping on tonight. I know it was kind of a long call. I have a lot of stuff planned for the rest of the week. I'm going to be talking about like creating a morning routine for yourself. Oh, here it is right here. Creating a morning routine for yourself, tracking your business, like how I track my business to help with my time management. We'll talk about just the gut checks in the evenings and at the end of the week. I'll talk about what I do on the weekends more, and then how I create a social media plan on Sundays to help me kind of prep for the week. So if you guys have any time management topics you want to see covered, let me know, and I can add those to some of the posts this week. But that's what I'm planning on talking about. And I hope this is helpful, and I can't wait to see all of your guys' schedules tomorrow at the latest on that thread once Rachel posts the recording. Okay, I'll be quiet now. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you for joining. Talk to you later.